It's been a few years since I had to retire my trusty Hasselblad H4D40. So I'm thrilled to announce the initiation of my brand new medium format system, the Fuji GF system. So for the past 3 years, as followers of my channel will probably be aware, I've been immersed in the world of photography using the Leica SL2. And not only have I cultivated a deep connection with the Leica system, but also heavily invested in the L mount, catering to my video needs as well. I'm shooting with the S5 right now. It's not that the 47 megapixels of the SL2 were not enough vision, but and we're seeing that overall image quality, especially the dynamic range from my old Hasselblad H4D40. So I've been thinking for a while now of getting back into the medium format for my personal fine art photography project, be it for printing in large format for exhibits or for my next book project. I'm going to continue to use my Leica SL2 as well for my regular work, and probably also more for video work, because the image quality coming out of the Leica SL2, in fact the video at the higher bit rates, the 42 bit rates, fantastic. It's only been marred by battery life, so I'm going to figure out a solution for it. Probably find out, I'm going to rig it up with the some kind of rig, maybe from small rig or something like that, and use a V99 battery to power that system, and therefore so it will be more comfortable shooting video with that camera. So if you figure that out, I think it's going to be a great video camera as well. So I'm definitely going to be using the Leica SL2 for a while, and in fact I'm looking forward to see what Leica brings out in the form of the Leica SL3, and see what improvements they've made, and if necessary I might upgrade from the SL2 to the SL3 as well. So getting back to the GFX 100 Mark II. See, I've tried out the earlier iterations of Fuji's digital medium format cameras, such as the 50S, the 100 Mark I, the original GFX 100, and also the GFX 100S. I did not like the ergonomics of the 50S or of the original 100 Mark I, but the GFX 100S came close to what I was looking for in a medium format, especially in a modern medium format camera. It had the right ergonomics, excellent image quality, and I was seriously considering buying that early this year. Before I could decide on that, I think Fujifilm have announced the GFX 100 Mark II, and it's a better camera. It's got better specs and features in all possible ways as compared to the 100S, and I decided it was the right time to invest into the system. And after hearing the initial positive reviews, I decided to get myself the GFX 100 Mark II, and as my first lens in the GF system, the Fuji GF 4500mm f4 lens, which is roughly has a focal length of 35mm to 80mm in the full frame equivalent focal length. So it's quite a useful focal length, and I heard very good reviews about the sharpness and the performance of this lens as well. Even though it's an f4 lens, so it's kind of slightly slower as compared to the primes, some of the new primes that Fuji have released. I decided to go with this as the focal range that it covers is very useful for me. Probably my next lens, I'm probably going to get a wide angle lens, possibly the 23mm, or maybe even the wide angle zoom that Fujifilm has brought out recently. So I've been shooting with this camera for about 2 weeks now, and I'm quite pleased with the results I've seen so far. Hi, I'm Kamal, a travel and landscape photographer and content creator now based in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Have been exhibiting my landscape and travel photography for over 20 years now. I also shoot portraiture and real estate photographs for my work. For me, 2023 was all about moving to Canada, setting up my home, bringing my family, setting my business, and finally setting up my YouTube studio, and now recording my very first video after a gap of nearly a year in the beginning of 2024. And I think this is going to be a great year for my photography and my content creation. I have a bunch of videos lined up after this one, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of my upcoming videos. So these are my first impressions from using the GFX 100 over a couple of weeks for street photography and landscape photography. So I also having had a chance to view and edit them in Lightroom, and these are my initial impressions. So let me first start with the technical specification, the highlights, because this camera has so many features and specifications. It will be difficult to go through all of them in this video. Definitely check out the user manual. So you get the maximum resolution from this camera shooting in the native 4:3 ratio. That's the 102 megapixel, and you can use the full width of the 43.8 mm into 32.9 mm the GFX 102 CMOS sensor. So as you can see from this list, you get the maximum resolution while shooting in 4:3 ratio that is native to the sensor. But even with the crop of the popular shooting formats such as 3:2 ratio or 16:9, so you still get the full width of sensor, but you will lose some resolution in the vertical axis. The camera is driven by the new X-Trans 5 processor from Fuji, enabling fairly swift throughputs that culminate in impressive maximum resolution, a maximum frame rate of up to 8 frames per second for photography. That's a noteworthy milestone in the history of medium format cameras. That performance is in line with what was considered groundbreaking for full frame cameras just a few years back. As you can see here, the camera supports a variety of image formats, including RAW, which is RAF, which is Fuji's RAW format, where you get the highest resolution, highest dynamic range. You can choose to shoot either in 16-bit or 14-bit RAW, and also you can shoot JPEGs, and also the newer high format which is used in smartphones and such, which is similar to JPEG, which is a compressed format but still gives quite good quality similar to JPEGs, and but it uses less memory than JPEG, so there's an advantage using high as well. Coming to the video specifications of this camera, this camera is quite a capable video camera as well. So as you can see, it can actually shoot up to 8K video up to 30 frames per second, starting from 24 frames per second up to 30 frames per second, and can shoot 5.8K, and it can shoot 4K up to 60p. Unfortunately, it doesn't have 4K 120p, which I think is a miss considering the rest of the specs of this camera. That would be nice to have. Some of the other full frame competitors do. Hopefully Fuji will release a software update to enable 4K 120 in the future. Let's hope and see. But at the moment, if you need to shoot slow motion, you can do it using at full HD, 100 frames per second or 120 frames per second. And the camera shoots in very high impressive bit rates from 50 Mbps all the way to 720 Mbps. So it can capture a lot of detail and resolution, but the file size is going to be pretty high. So keep that in mind when deciding to buy this camera. So you might need to upgrade your computer and your hard drive storage system, because the file size coming out is both for photography and for video are going to be that much larger as compared to, say, a full frame camera. So these, as you can see, these specifications highlight the GFX 100 Mark II's versatility in capturing high quality video content with options suitable for various settings and creative requirements. Okay, now talking about image stabilization. The camera boasts an impressive 8 stops of stabilization, especially for pitch and yaw shake. Hopefully this feature will enhance the camera's ability to capture sharp images even in challenging conditions. But that remains to be seen. I really haven't done too much testing of the IBIS. I will cover that in future detailed review. So overall, these specifications these specifications collectively contribute to the camera's versatility, providing users with various file format options and advanced image stabilization capabilities, especially in dynamic shooting scenarios. So the GFX 100 Mark II also features hybrid AF, which is what I found very interesting. It incorporates both TTL contrast AF and also TTL phase detection AF for swift and accurate focusing. The phase detection operates down to minus 5.5 EV, which is quite impressive. And in my experience using this camera for the last 2 weeks, I found the autofocus to be very prompt. In fact, probably even faster than my Leica SL2 and the Lumix S5, which I'm shooting a video with right now. And I found it fairly sticky when it comes to autofocus, continuous autofocus tracking as well. So the GFX 100 Mark II is equipped with a 6.64 inch OLED color viewfinder, boasting approximately 9.44 million dots of resolution. So basically it's the class leading, so it's on par with the best that Sony and Canon have to offer, with a 9.44 million dots resolution. So 9.4 million dots, basically 9.4 megapixel resolution EVF. It's a high resolution immersive, so basically provides a fairly high resolution immersive viewing experience. The coverage of the viewing area was the capture area is 1:1. That is, you basically see everything that you're going to capture in the image area. So it has 100% coverage, which is great, because then when you're composing an image, you're getting exactly what you're seeing, and that's very important, especially for all kinds of photography, but especially for landscape photography and architectural photography, and even fine art production. So you're not cropping anything off. So the rear LCD screen on the GFX 102 is a two-way tilting screen, so you can tilt it both in the horizontal axis as well as in the vertical axis when you're shooting in vertical shooting modes. That's really helpful when you're for composition, especially in shooting, to capture images which are, say, at a low level or a high level, so you can even tilt it downward and shoot it like that, looking at the viewfinder, or you tilt it up, and especially doing even, like, say, street photography is useful because you're just shooting from waist level, like old medium format cameras with waist level viewfinders. So you can shoot in those kind of in a way it helps to kind of make people around you more comfortable, because they don't really understand what you're doing when you're shooting at the waist level. And also for composition, it's very useful, especially if you're doing landscapes and if you're doing, say, a vertical image, you can tilt it and you can view it without having to strain your neck and back. And the screen itself is very, I love the screen. I think it does a great job of providing the information, all the information, and showing the image quite accurately. So the camera also has a sub monitor. I don't know if you can see that here. It has a lovely sub monitor which gives you all your shooting information very handy, and you can also cycle through some settings and views. You can view the histogram here, so you don't have to use the histogram necessarily in your main monitor. So which is, in a way, is good, and you can see all your shooting settings. Very nice implementation of the sub monitor as well. And if you can see, there's a whole bunch of information that you can see in the rear monitor, including shooting levels. You can the camera shows both levels in the horizontal axis as well as in the vertical axis, whether the camera is tilted or in front or back. So two different levels that's built in. So it kind of has a 3D level mode, which is nice. Having said all that, the rear LCD screen on the GFX 100 is only a two-way tilting screen without a flip out option. So it kind of limits its ability for self-filming without an external monitor. So solo content creators would be kind of disappointed with that, especially if you're trying to shoot photograph or videograph themselves. So that kind of a miss. But I guess professional cameras of this nature, most people are going to use an external monitor anyway. So it depends on who you're talking to. It's either a miss or not. So it's a low-key miss in my aspect. So it would be nice to have a flip-out screen in situations where you're doing running and gunning kind of a shoot, and you just need to shoot yourself for some reason, it would be nice to have a flip out screen for sure. And no conversation of Fujifilm camera is going to be complete without talking about the film simulation modes. And in this camera, Fuji is taking to an all new level. They included 20 different film simulation modes, including all the legacy film types such as Belvia, Provia, and Proneg, Astia, Acros. But they've also included a brand new film simulation called Reala Ace, which I need to check out more. But I think it adds a new level of I think it's a new creative mode that I think especially for shooting video, but I really need to investigate a little more. I really haven't got time to do check out all the film simulation modes, but I've shot with a few, and it's so convenient to have those film simulation modes because you can create a look straight out of camera, both for your photographs as well as for video, without having to do any kind of post-processing. So it's nice to have that option. So talking about design and build, so the GFX 100 weighs in just under a kilogram at 948 grams. So that's roughly around 2.2 pounds. The weight itself is fairly well distributed. So when you hold it with one hand, it doesn't feel it's tilting in any direction. The center of gravity is very well balanced and very well designed. I think if at all I think it's probably the grip side with battery is probably slightly heavy, so that when you actually grip it there anyway, the rest of the body feels fairly light and well balanced. And that also continues to the design of the lens, the GFX 145mm f4. Even though it's a large, massive lens, it weighs exactly 1 kilogram. That's around 2.2 pounds. But the weight is somehow well designed in such a way that the center of gravity sits more towards the mount. So even though the lens is a fairly long lens, it doesn't feel like it's going to tilt in forward, right? So when you mount it with the camera, the center of gravity is fairly close to your hand. So overall, very well implemented, the design and the ergonomics. The grip is quite nice and comfortable. All my fingers sit. Usually have a problem with my little finger sticking out of the camera for many of the cameras, but in this I can see it, all my these three fingers with my index finger on the shutter button and my thumb here at the back correctly nestled in the thumb against the thumb rest. So very well implemented design. So kudos to the Fujifilm team for the design of this body. And the good design continues, I think, to also the layout of the buttons. There are a lot of buttons, just as many as you need, not overly busy, has fairly minimalistic look, kind of modeled after something like the Leica SL2, which has I think one of the best designs. But overall, very good implementation. You have customizable buttons right here near the shutter button. You have two command dials with which you can control pretty much the exposure triangle of ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. You can also control aperture from the lenses, but I'm used to usually shooting and controlling my aperture from the command dials because of my history with full frame cameras. But it's nice to also have the aperture control on the lens. Maybe I might slowly move to that type of shooting, since now that I have this lens with me. And the camera has settings for manual aperture priority, shutter priority, and program modes. And it also has 6 different custom settings which you can set for still and video shooting. And has a dedicated button here for still and movie modes. So switching between the two also changes all the settings. So you don't need to really change your settings when you move from still to video modes, because the settings are going to remain the way they are when you left them in the previous mode. So if you're shooting it with particular settings in movie mode and you decide to need to take a still photograph, you can do that and then come back to movie mode, and you would still have your settings the way you left them. So that's kind of nice to have. I had an opportunity to shoot with this camera and lens combination in fairly low temperatures, up to -3 degrees Celsius, with some light drizzle as well as some snowy conditions. Over the last couple of weeks, we had a fairly cold front in Vancouver about a week back. The camera is weather sealed and so is the lens. So I had the confidence to actually take them out in fairly wet conditions, or light drizzle and also fairly heavy snow. And I didn't have any problems condensation either, which is quite nice, because when usually when you move between varying temperatures rapidly, say from the indoors of your house to the cold outdoors, usually you might have some condensation issues, or vice versa when you move from cold conditions into the warmer conditions. I didn't have any of those problems with this body or the lens, and I could start shooting right away, which is pretty nice. And overall operability, even with gloves on, was fairly good. I did have to remove my gloves on a couple of occasions, but overall I could pretty much change the settings even with gloves on. And except I think maybe while you having to use touchscreen on 1 or 2 occasions, I think I had to remove my gloves, but otherwise most of the time it worked well. So coming to ease of use, the camera by default is set to shoot in JPEG mode. So I usually shoot with RAW plus JPEG. So I needed to go and make that change. I also had to go and set up the media slots to shoot the way and record the way I wanted. So I have a particular preference. The slot 1 is CF Express card type B slot, and in which I'm using a 512 gigabyte CF Express B type card from ProGrid, which I for a fairly good deal on in Amazon Canada, and let me show you the cards anyway. So burst shoots, and for the slot 2, which is a UHS 2 SD type slot, I decided to go for a 256 GB Lexar 250 megabits per second type UHS 2 card, which I already have some experience using in my Leica SL2, and it's quite a reliable card, so I decided to use this card. So the way I've set up these cards is to shoot video and raw images to the slot 1 and shoot JPEGs to slot 2. So that's the way I'm using it. I also set up the camera to shoot in 4K 60p, so that's probably something you might want to go and tweak as soon as you pick up this camera. So the few settings that you need to change, but the camera itself has such a huge array of settings and features that I would recommend anybody buying this camera to definitely read through the user manual, however experienced you are, because if you want to get the best out of this camera, you definitely need to get familiar with the features built into this camera, and also the way you need to set it up. And it has got such exhausting. I don't want to get into this video. I'm going to reserve that for a more detailed review a month or two down the line. So I will talk about all these features in detail and how they actually work in real life settings. Battery life is pretty good. I didn't get a chance to really test it extensively, but for the few shoots that I've done about one street photography shoot, couple of landscape shoots, and one short portrait shoot, battery life was as expected. I think I went up to 2 hours without having to change the battery on one shoot. That's the only shoot where I really had to change the battery, and that was like shooting a bunch of photographs in raw mode, raw plus JPEG mode, and also a few clips of video. But really I can't say, I don't really have an opinion about the battery life as of now, except say it's as expected from a modern digital camera. So I'll reserve a detailed opinion, a proper opinion for my next review on the battery life. But just like for any other camera, I would definitely recommend having a spare battery. And the camera also supports USB-C charging, so You can always charge it in your car or to a coffee shop if you're doing street photography. That's not a problem. So you have all these options. So tell me a little bit more about yourself, guys. What brings you to this video? Are you considering a media format system? Are you already using the GFX 100 II or one of the earlier GFX cameras? Share your experiences. I would love to hear about your experiences. And if there's a specific aspect of the camera you'd like me to explore in my next videos, do let me know in the comments below. Your engagement is valuable in shaping upcoming content on my channel. I have a bunch of, as far as future content goes for this channel, I have a bunch of videos lined up, including a more detailed review of the GFX 100 Mark II, and also about my new video studio setup here in Vancouver, and a short-term review of the Osmo Pocket 3, and a very interesting what's in my camera bag for the beginning of 2024. If you're a gear nerd like me, I'm sure you'll be interested in that video. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified about my upcoming videos. So now let me show you guys some sample images and video clips from my shoots over the last couple of weeks, and you can do some pixel peeping and judge for yourself. The primary allure of the GFX 100 II lies in its staggering 102 megapixel resolution, making it an ideal choice for photographers who require the utmost detail and clarity in their images. Off the top of my mind, I can think of a bunch of uses for this camera. One, artists and photographers engaged in fine art reproduction will definitely appreciate the camera's ability to capture intricate details, vibrant colors, and subtle nuances. And landscape photographers, particularly those with a need for printing the work in large format or compiling to book projects, will find the GFX 100 II's resolution and image quality essential for showcasing the grandeur of vast landscapes. And for architectural photographers, the availability of tilt-shift lenses enhances the GFX 100 II's appeal for that type of photography. The feature allows for precise control over perspective, crucial for capturing buildings and structures with accuracy. High-end portraiture and fashion. The camera is well suited for high-end portraiture and fashion photography with the ability to capture very fine details. The camera's resolution ensures that fine textures, skin tones, and intricate details are faithfully reproduced, elevating the quality of the final images. In summary, the GFX 100 is a powerhouse designed for photographers with specific needs who prioritize high resolution for application ranging from fine art to architectural and fashion photography. So if you guys found this video informative, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on my upcoming reviews and insights. Remember, your feedback can shape the content I create. So until next time, happy shooting and stay inspired. Cheers.